Good morning, guys. Excuse me. Well, first of all, thank you so much for coming along with me in this day in the life. It's the day after Valentine's Day, and if I look a little tired, I absolutely am. I do not have school today, so I really wanted to make it a day where I catch up on some rest, knock out some projects at home and school. But Aubrey ended up asking me to come and experience chapel at her school with her. And I realized that I have not done it all year long. So I am putting my wonderful child first. And I'm currently sitting outside of Starbucks. It was raining and I refused to get out of my car. So I ended up going through drive-thru. I'm going to get me a little pick-me-upper, and then I am going to head to Aubrey's school. I guess I need to kind of paint my face a little bit too, but so anyway, tag along with me for the rest of my day. Alright, so I'm at Aubrey's school. I actually forgot to put on my earrings. I am just going to put it on a little makeup. I'm not even really gonna do anything. I'm gonna fill in my eyebrows a little bit. How was that? I'm not a huge makeup person whatsoever. The first time. Okay, I think we're good with that. For some reason I lost my mascara. Just to cut down on any shine. What time is it? That doesn't look so good. Way too dark. All right, so listen, Aubrey's chapel is fabulous. I love it. Hopefully I get a little footage for you guys, but it is so wonderful, and this is why I absolutely love her school. I'll talk a little bit more after chapel about the fact that school choice. Actually, Aubrey does attend a private school, and so I am a believer in school choice, and so maybe we can talk about that on the drive home. And I would love to know what you guys think. Actually, I think, we just live in a crazy time. Like, I don't think any of us, and maybe every generation says that, but I definitely don't think, one, my child's spiritual beliefs doesn't rely in the hands of any politics. But even at this point, education, like, there are so many inequalities in it that I think right now that the best option is school choice. And I know a lot of people have a lot of varying opinions on that. But I'm on both sides of the equation. I am a school teacher. I used to be a public school teacher. For those of you who don't know, I actually started a small school. And I started a small school because of the situation in public schools. So anyway, without further ado, I am going to go into this building and experience an awesome time of worship. And when I get back, we're going to have a conversation about school choice. Bing.
Winter break is exciting. There's no doubt. Let me tell you what's more exciting, that we get to come together to worship the King of Kings and Lord of Lords and tell him how great he is. You know what? This morning I was reading the last book of the Bible. It's called Revelation. The last book of the Bible kind of tells how it all wraps up. And I just want to tell you, they are having a worship party in there. It begins with worship. There's a little drama in the middle. And then it ends with a whole lot of worship. Crucified, risen, coming again, the light of the all. I pledge allegiance to the Bible, God's holy word. I will make it a lamp unto my feet and a light into my path. I will hide its words in my heart, that I might not sin against God. reflect him. And I was put in a place called delight, where I would delight in him and he would hold me. But me, and everybody like me said, I want to do it my own way. I want to do it my own way. I want to do it my own way. And we went from delight to despair. But did God leave us like that? No. He built the bridge of grace. He died on the cross and said, if I would say, goodbye my way, hello God's way, I could go back to delight, where I would delight in him and he would hold me. And once I've done that, I have a treasure inside. Equipped with the treasure, I begin my journey down the transformation trail. That's right. And the secret of the transformation trail is all in the eyes. Because I behold him and I delight. He holds me and I'm transformed, right? I'm transformed. And I become all hope, all value, and all strength. Thank you, 5th grade. You got it. Have a seat. Good job. Ask I'll go. So I say yes. Ask I'll go. Got the picture up, Mr. Buck? What do we have? You want to be a mountain of believer? What are you doing down here? Are you getting still? Are you praying? Are you seeking? Because that's what makes you a mountain. One more time, slow. I'll say yes, ask I'll go, ask I'll go, ask I'll go. I'll say yes, ask I'll go. Let's go to the secret place and pray, right? How he loves you. Pray us out of your Father. Thank you that you want to talk to us. Thank you that you want us to come spend time with you. Help us to learn to talk and to listen in the secret place so we can be mighty on Conviction Mountain. In Jesus' name, amen. I love you all. Have a good day.
Well, as always, I am invigorated. Coming to Aubrey's school and worshiping with her is always such an awesome treat to me, and I get mad at myself that I have not made time for it more as my school has grown and as she has gotten older, because I did it quite often when she was younger because I had more flexible time. But today, once again, just confirm why we have her where she is and why I need to make time on Fridays to come and worship with my daughter. It was just so awesome. Okay, let me get out of here. All right, so I said that I was going to talk about school choice, right? And before I actually start, let me say that I truly hate the fact that so many things have been politicized, including education. And I am speaking as a parent who really genuinely, like all parents, want the absolute best for her children. And with that being said, basically my view is that I believe in school choice. I believe in choice, period, when it comes to our education system. I believe in any and all schools that you feel will help your child get to the place that he or she needs to be as far as their academic development, their social development, as well as their spiritual development. Might I also add, I believe in homeschool. Homeschool is so awesome. I believe in every parent having the choice to be able to send their child to the place that will eventually benefit them the most. And I believe school choice even more so for middle and lower working class parents. And I believe that's probably like a huge debate, because what people believe is that, you know, if we start pulling money away from the local public schools who are already strapped for money, Scrap, is that a word? Or strap? So let me start. So if we start pulling money away from already strapped public schools, it's gonna make situations worse. I get that. But you also have a segment of people who are forced to attend failing schools, and they don't want to be a part of the failing school. And my opinion about school choice has definitely been shaped by where I am, okay? And so let me say this. I know my situation may not look, and when I say my situation, I'm not talking about my personal situation. I'm talking about my community. I understand that everybody is not from an urban setting, but that has shaped what my viewpoint is at this time, because that's what I know. And so I get the fact that somebody else is going to have a totally different situation, and therefore their situation, their circumstances have also shaped their perspective. So once again, let me put that out on the table. Now going back to kind of explain where I am, I live in an urban setting that does not appear to be strapped for money. Okay. Even when I was in public schools, the public school that I was in on the administrative team had Bill Gates backing them for this small school community idea that was really big a couple of years ago, and it might still be around. And he gave substantial amount of money for that to happen. Prior to him even coming, we had a brand new building, the best of technology. Kids didn't have to pay anything. Free lunch, free breakfast, everything. Okay. And there was nothing by way of finances that, some people typically associate with school that may limit or prevent some students from benefiting. So all of that was taken away. And still, that school, even with the resources, and once again, from my perspective, lots of money. I won't say unlimited amounts of money, but I'm talking about, teachers can always get paid more. But once again, in this district, I did not complain too much about. I didn't complain at all. Matter of fact, that was one of the reasons why I ended up leaving. I felt like I was eating steak and potatoes on the backs of poor black kids. Did I say that? We're gonna have to erase all of that. Where was I? Okay, so just, from my perspective, money was not an issue whatsoever. And I'm not saying that happens everywhere. Money wasn't an issue. But the issue was for the type of students that we happen to have been serving in this particular district, in this particular zone. Poverty played a huge part in it. But then so does your upbringing, or, what parents, where they place their values. We simply do not have an educational system where every child is brought to school and we all agree on what should be in. I don't even know that. I don't know. I just erased a whole bunch of stuff out. I thought better of it. But let me just say this. From my vantage point, is not about finances. I've worked in places where some of the most, at least on paper, some of the most talented professionals have been. Schools immaculate, brand new, state-of-the-art schools. Every child has a computer. Like, those things were not an option. But yet, Students continue to fall behind. Students with special needs continue to fall behind, not even coming close to closing gaps, okay? And so based on that, and then based on my own experience with my child, I purchased a home prior to meeting my husband. And I didn't know Atlanta that well. I was young, had an opportunity, and never grew up in a house. I grew up in a trailer. It was a double wide though, okay? Anyway, so I had this opportunity to buy this 4-bedroom house as like what, a 24-year-old, 25-year-old, and I did it. So I really didn't think much about the school system where I was, because that wasn't on my radar, And so I made that investment. And then when Jason and I got married, we did look into purchasing homes outside of where we were, because we weren't totally satisfied with being where we were. But for whatever reason, those things didn't happen, which was a blessing from God, because that one of the reasons why I have been really flexible in deciding whether or not I work and pursuing the things that God has placed on my heart has been a result of the fact of me making that initial investment where we currently live. But when it came time for Aubrey to enroll in school, well, the neighborhood school was out of the question. Once again, do we think we're better than those that we live around? No, not whatsoever. However, in the elementary school, the local elementary school where I am, have cases of kids being knocked unconscious in the bathroom, and adults not knowing how that happened. And I'm telling you what I know, because it happened to one of my good friends' children, and all types of other things. And so I didn't want my child in that type of environment. We are Christians, and we, like any Christian or just any good parent, there are certain things that you try to prevent or shield your child from until you feel they are age appropriate. And so I wanted, as much as possible, to keep my child from experiencing or being aware of certain things until I felt like she was emotionally ready or mature enough to be able to handle. And I still didn't give up on public schools at that point. We actually tried 2 charter schools that we qualified for, but unfortunately, well, I guess fortunately, but either or, we did not. It was a lottery process, and for both of them, we did not get drawn off the bat. So which left us in a place that we had to look outside of public schools, outside of charter schools, and that was 2 private schools, and which honestly neither my husband or I ever thought about, because honestly, let me tell you, I was excited that I no longer had to pay the the private school pre-K program or daycare program. And so that was like, yes, she's 5, she gets to go to school, we don't have to have this investment anymore. But then when we realized that even the alternatives weren't an option for us, or we couldn't do it through no fault of our own, we were forced to look to other options, aka private schools. And then Jason came across Landmark Christian School, which wasn't on his radar. And like I said, when he called me, he said, "Cindy, have you ever heard of Landmark Christian School?" And I was like, no. He was like, "Listen, I think this is where Aubrey should be." And so he's like, "I'm gonna send you a link, and you just check it out, and then I'm gonna go ahead on and call and set up an appointment for us to go and tour it. So, I looked over it. Okay, tomato. Everybody has a good website nowadays. And but when I went and I saw like recent graduates and where their life had taken them beyond that particular school, and how they articulated how that school had set such an awesome foundation academically, but as well as through that faith in Jesus, and how that they felt like they were able to walk out of there prepared to face the world and impact the world for Christ. Like I'm tearing up now. I literally cried because I saw my child. I saw the type of environment that I wanted her to be in. Public schools all the way, never ever thought about anything else, okay? And still, I feel like my public school experience was awesome. I had one elementary school teacher who changed the course of my life forever. And it was because of her that I was able to go on to middle school and high school and to do so well, and eventually to college and graduate school. So for God to have placed that school in front of me, I knew then that was the route for my child, at least for the time or situation that we were in then. And at that point for me, it didn't matter anymore about a cost, because we were going to figure that out some way or another. So that's one. That's when it really came real apparent to me that school choice should be an option for us all. And I had to reshift my thinking to understand that school choice is just not about directing money from the public to these private schools or Christian schools, or even other schools that may teach things contrary to what mainstream teach. It's not about that. And hopefully, as we figure this out, we can put things in place to make sure that monies aren't going toward teaching, crazy ideologies and all of that good stuff. But I knew that there was no other option for me other than private school. Here where I live, you have to go to a zone school. But when that zone school isn't prepared for the investment that I had already put into my 5-year-old, she already went to school being able to read, knowing sight words, being able to write, count to 100. Those are things that her pre-K program or her academy taught her prior to going to Landmark. And I know, once again, being a public school teacher, that a lot of kids, especially where I live, they didn't have those skills. And I also understand that as a teacher, it takes an extraordinary teacher to be able to manage a class of 20, sometimes 30 children who you have vast differences in their ability level. And being a special education teacher, I'm going to tell you right now, I work with 7 kids who definitely have the ability to learn. Okay? There's no doubt about it. They have the ability to learn. But having them all at one time with all the varying things that they deal with in a classroom and trying to teach them, it is difficult to the point where for certain classes, we have split them up to 3 and 4, and it still isn't easy because you're talking about people who have extreme differences which requires me as the teacher to figure out how am I going to access each of those differences and really propel them forward. And it's easy to say differentiated instruction. But one, being able to teach like that isn't easy, and it requires a great amount of skill. And not to say most teachers don't have it, but it still ain't easy. And I feel that I am a decent teacher. And I have data to back that up, okay? I'm not the greatest teacher, but I'm a decent teacher. And I have brought children who have learned up to the first and second grade level for 7 years, have produced in them a whole grade level in 1 year. So I think that qualifies to say that I know a little bit about, education. It's not easy. And somebody is not gonna get pushed as much as they need to be pushed, and somebody's gonna be lagging along because it is just too drastic. And even with the students that I work with, I feel like I'm rambling, but let me go ahead on and say this. Even with the students that I'm working with now, their parents are where they are because public schools did not have an answer for these students with learning disabilities. I will go on the record to say where I'm at, most of the charter schools do not have an answer for a lot of these students who have learning disabilities. What has been the answer? At least for 7, my little bitty small school has changed the course of their lives. And no, those big changes haven't always been academic. Some of them have been like, man, wow, they're at a place now that they don't feel bullied anymore. They're at a place now where they can actually read and miss 50 words while reading and not feel like, oh my God, I'm the worst failure ever. But that's what school choice has done. And what I really believe about school choice and why it could work, we need more of these talented teachers who are in public education, who are fed up. Not that you want to leave your babies, but you leave to open up a school for your babies. Because that was what I did. When I left public education and God gave me the opportunity to open up my school, I never had in mind I wanted to work with little rich, privileged kids. Nope. I wanted the same kids that I was working with prior. My school, the whole purpose of my school is to give an alternative to public education for students who have learning differences to kids who can't afford it. And every single child who's at my school right now, either one, they did not qualify for some of the amazing private schools that are for kids with special needs in our community. And I admire them myself. I look at them like I'm dreaming. I want all of that for my babies. But when you charge people $18,000, $19,000 a year, you better produce what you say you're going to produce. And because special ed is such a huge range, and because they're not God, they're not gonna get every disability and be able to really produce a well-rounded academic gifted child. It's not gonna happen. So I'm not even mad at them about having their qualifications or cutoff points. But so my kids either didn't qualify for their school based upon the severity of the issues that they have, or they couldn't afford it. And that's where I came in. And, I say all the time, if any of my parents ever prayed to God for a place for their child, then he answered them in Triumph Transition School. And so for them, had my school not been there, and had Georgia not been a voucher state, they would have no other options. They have to work. They might not be as skilled to be able to stay home and work with their child and take care of their children. And I just personally believe that schools should be like churches. You know, you come into some communities, you have a church on every corner. I feel like you need a school on every corner, because not every child needs the same thing. And some children need to be in a class with 7 kids, with 5 kids. Others can benefit from being in a class with 20 kids, or it won't hurt them. You know, some kids may need a school with all boys. Some may need a school with all girls. And public schools have become such a one size fit all, and it can't, because our world has grown. We have grown. And the good thing about America, we don't have to believe in the same thing. You can believe and have your different types of belief, and no one gonna arrest you. But that's why we need these different schools. And then, especially when you're talking about kids who are living in poverty, or kids who may come from homes where their parents are not highly educated, and maybe they didn't get a good start to education. And so you need those schools that will be able to work with their parents with the different types of issues that come about when you come from a lower income home. You know, I have kids, you know, who I have to work with through the fact that their parents can't work with them on their homework. I will never fail a child because they don't do homework. But I also know I have some parents who drop their children off at me, work a full-time job, come home, fix dinner, try to put their child in bed, and then go out and drive Lyft. And that child don't come to school with their homework. I can see when I give my vocabulary assessment that child is not doing a whole bunch at home. Is it because that parent don't want to? No. Their lifestyle doesn't allow them to sometimes. So as a teacher, I have to recognize that. And then I have to give him more instruction, or her. I have to do more as a teacher, but I can do that because I have 7 kids. And then I kind of build a culture in my school. I know how it looks. And so, you know, in the middle of the year, if my scheduling doesn't work, I can change it up. But that's the beauty of having different schools, so that it can fit who we are. I still feel like I ramble. I'm going to end this. And you guys continue the discussion. Let me know what you think. And maybe I will come back and do a part 2 or something to this. But anyway, I really enjoyed going to Arbery School, and I definitely will be back. All right, bye.